All right. It is Wednesday. How are you? We
Dude,
got
bro, how
Rob.
are you doing, man?
Good. We got Rob in the house. Rob, the producer, as you're well known in our industry.
Then that happened by an accident. Thank you, Dan Blanc, for that crap.
It's in my phone as Rob, the producer. Hey, Rob, I'm excited to introduce you because a lot of people, I feel like they should know who you are because you are behind the scenes on a lot of our industry stuff that's going on, right?
Yeah. It's great, and I prefer being behind the scenes because whenever it jacks up, and I just get to do like this dip, and nobody even knows about it anymore.
Camera comes on and you fade away, right? But not today, not today, Rob, not today. So give us some, give everybody that's listening, tell them who you are. We call you Rob the producer because you help produce even a lot of our podcasts and a lot of the content that's going out in our fence industry. Give everybody a little insight about who you are.
Sweet. So I started all of this way back when I was in school. I wanted to do videos. I wanted to do movies. And then I got into wanting to do special effects. And then I found out like I would end up being like Dust Guy in Scene 7. And I didn't want to be Dust Guy in Scene 7. So I was like, okay, where can I switch and flip to still have, like an influence over everything, but not, be totally in the background. And that led me to the editing part. And then Future happened and Live happened, did 15 years in the military, got out, and then slowly got back into the editing and marketing world. And it started out with just volunteering at Life Church. And then from Life Church, it went to getting paid at churches, to knowing a friend of mine in Tulsa, Kyle Sullivan with Unleash the Champ Leadership Podcast. Started working on his stuff. Nathan Downs lives 5 houses down from him. And that led to my first fence, which led me to my fence life, which brought me to the fence show where I met everybody else, and Fence Industry Podcast, Fence Guy Friday. I work with Benji sometimes, do stuff with him a whole lot right now. And it's a blast, dude. It's a whole lot of fun. If you would have told me 10 years ago, you're going to be working on fence podcasts the majority of your time, would have been like, you're crazy. But it's probably the most fun work that I've ever done.
Yeah, it's awesome. And you do it well. So a lot of this stuff people are seeing, these shorts, this editing in the background videos, and even some of the intro work, all this stuff, you're doing a lot of this stuff that people are watching every day. So it's really cool to have you on here, and we appreciate what you're doing because you're helping bring some of these podcasts to the next level.
And I love doing it.
Yeah. So we got you on this one because this is kind of a special episode to me. We're gonna be talking about the 5 things that we should be posting every week. I mean, I'm if you know me, I'm probably even more aggressive. I'm probably the 5 things you should post every day, right? But
yeah.
But at least every week, right? Not every day or hour like I do. But if you could do these 5 things every week, you can start creating some organic traction and start building your reputation in the industry. When I say the industry, I mean the online industry and the search engines and things like that, to get some Google and all the other search engines can start indexing you a little bit better and ranking, because that's really what it comes down to. Am I right?
Yeah. Ranking and exposure.
Yeah. And the more you can do some of these things, it helps drive traffic, creates a wheel. I believe, and it's been going back for years, there's a wheel. You're creating a wheel and everything's directing it towards, in my stuff, my wheel gets into like a bunch of sprockets almost within the wheel because I do so many different ones that kind of go around. But in essence, it's all supposed to be steering people back to the same place.
Yeah.
And a lot of this content, and when it gets into the Google pages and all this stuff, it's not driven off just just your website. And a lot of times, this goes back to our old Yellow Pages day. You can have the fanciest ad in the Yellow Pages, but if nobody ever flips to your page, it was irrelevant, right? So all of this is to steer people to flip to your page. So this is a really cool episode. We're going to go over those 5 things and then add some bonus content to the end of this with some of your input, since you're the one doing a lot of the posting. I mean, you probably have access to a lot of people's data and analytics that you understand what's working and what's not working. So I want to kind of go over some of these things and get your opinion on this as well. And this is going to be stuff that I deal with, on my stuff, and hopefully you'll have some good input and some advice on maybe tweaking even it for me. So I'm hoping to get something out of this episode as well.
Absolutely, no problem.
So let's dive into it. And when you're getting into content that you should be posting, number 1, I mean, this is I believe this behind the scene content is really valuable. You know, what are your thoughts on that?
So behind the scenes content, it's actually probably your easiest content because you're there. You're constantly there. And it doesn't necessarily have to be just you. Say if you're in the office all the time, do some office shots. But if you've got guys that are out in the field and doing stuff, one of them, somebody's got a phone, and just make it a task. Like, once a day, send me a photo. Clean your lens first, and then send me a photo.
Yeah.
And it's, and not everything has to be picture perfect. Not everything has to be, make it the right angle. Don't have everything, like crazy. And you're a business. You're not a 14-year-old on Snapchat,
Yeah.
but it makes you more relatable, and it lets people see that it's more than just you. It's, the people that are going to be going out doing that project, show them those people so they know, like, okay, it is an actual business, not just some guy that's sitting in an office.
Yep. And I like that because, I mean, what you said is show those people, because I believe people buy people, in a way. They're not just buying products or services. So if you can showcase your team, even job site progress, planning meetings, funny mishaps, within reason though. I mean, obviously,
don't be afraid to show a mess up at all. Don't be afraid of it.
Don't want stuff taken out of context, right? Don't just fill it up full of
is facts tell, stories sell. Tell the story. If you're out doing I refer a whole bunch to fence stuff because that's what I work with the most. If you're doing a fence for a backyard and they've got a small dog, don't just say, hey, built this fence for this lady. Like, this woman has a small dog. That was the biggest concern about the fence that they had, because other people that are looking at your content, they'll be like, oh, I have a small dog. What fence? Why was this chosen for that? Where if you just would have posted this fence, this long, this much, customers, they don't care.
Yep. Yeah. And and I think it's really important. I think that you do some of those unique photos and images and content, because a lot of times people think I just got to go into Canva or go into Photoshop or Adobe, and I got to create these ads, and that's what's people are gonna be drawn to. But I think we're getting numb to those. We're getting so a photo, I think we've proven this. If you're gonna do some content, even on one of your posts, if you attach a photo to it, it's got a way bigger increased chance of somebody actually viewing it. And you can see those almost from any of the things that you're posting to. So, and maybe do a test and do that same post, wait 2 weeks and do that post again with a photo. And
absolutely.
And do it yourself and test it and see. And I think you'll find anything with a photo is going to do a little bit better. And if it's an original photo and not just a photo of an ad, that's going to be even better. And where we're going to kind of compare where you think this stuff should be posted, what social media platforms. Mm-hmm. And I have a checklist of kind of that I go off of where it should be posted.
Gotcha.
If you have behind the scene content, where do you think? Because all these social media platforms are different, and the reach is different, right?
Yeah.
And who what you're trying to do with it's different. So whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and so on. So if behind the scene content, where do you think a good place to post that once a week? We're talking just once a week to everybody that's listening.
Facebook, Instagram, easy.
Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. And I got to tend to agree on that. And I think that we, if you're going to be posting those things, just my personal opinion, don't just search out the big fence groups, because we get, I know we have some of these Facebook groups and we get slammed with people trying to promote their companies as if they're trying to get a customer. That's not a place to get customers, because those are industry groups with other fence companies. Find your local community groups. Facebook's amazing, but I think they tend to not join the correct groups on that. It's great to be able to chat and stuff with with everybody in your industry and learn about manufacturers and suppliers and stuff. But go and find your HOA groups. Right? Search for all your local HOA groups and join those and start posting and answering questions. Don't just post ads in, they're going to kick you out. So that's my suggestion if you are going to use Facebook and you're trying, if you're a fence company trying to get leads. Great though. I think we're kind of in line on that. Instagram, I suffer with Instagram, so I got to work on my Instagram myself.
Well, and an easy cheat to start out with Instagram is just link it to your Facebook. So whatever you post on Facebook automatically kicks right over, because at least you're posting something there. And
Yeah.
don't be afraid of like, oh, this looks like, my stuff looks like 500 of the other things. That's perfectly fine because you follow your industry and everyone else that's in your industry. Your customers don't. They don't know that that's the 500th photo of a vinyl fence that's been posted that day.
Yep.
They're just looking for, I need somebody to do this. Who does it? And they're going to see that 1 or 2 times whenever they make the decision on who they're going to buy from.
Yeah. So we're talking about things they can do once a week. How often do you think somebody should be posting behind the scenes photos from
behind the scenes?
opinion?
1 to 2 at least.
1 to 2 a week. So 1 would be like a minimum. 2, 2
one a minimum. 2 is, you'll find your rhythm, and all of these should be at least once. And you get to some people. I know some companies that post 3 times a week. I know some people that post 15 to 20 times a week.
Yeah.
And there's a different approach for each one. One is more direct. This is exactly what I want. This is exactly who I'm trying to get to. Whenever it's not like back in the day whenever we were first starting social media and everybody saw everything from everyone's feed. YouTube, Google, Facebook, Instagram, all those, they're picking, okay, this is what they wrote. This is who I'm going to give it to. This is what they wrote. This is who I'm going to give it to. So you may see your 20 posts, but I guarantee you they're probably only seeing 10% of what you're posting actually.
I agree. So don't be afraid to post. So great. Yeah, great. So second one would be customer education or tips.
Customer education and tips are gigantic. The reason why I love customer education and tips is I've always felt the more you freely give away, the more questions and the more work you're going to get. Because when you give that stuff freely away, people realize I don't have time to do all this crap. I need, if the person that is already the DIYer, hey, you helped them out. So if something happens later and it's above their pay grade, they're going to come to you. But 90% of the time, customer education is the best thing in the whole wide world you could ever do.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially put in, like, if you have a list of FAQs, just read off an FAQ. Now, it's a frequently asked question, not a frequently asked chapter. Keep that response, down to 2 or 3 lines and give them just what they need to know.
Yep, I agree. I mean, it builds trust, it shows expertise, and some people question on whether they want this or not, but it creates an audience of smarter buyers, right? So we got to be careful as well when you're doing that. And I'm a firm believer you got to be careful. You don't overeducate the customer to the point where you even when we train our salespeople, we say, hey, you know what? I get that you want to prove to everybody how smart you are in fencing and gates and access controls, but don't forget to sell the fence or the gate while you're out there educating this customer. They called you because they wanted a fence, not because they wanted to learn how to build fence. Remember that, when you're going out there. But it does create, if you create these things, it's fresh content. And if you had a blog on your website, I'm a big fan of those. If you have a blog, keep, it keeps your website fresh. And it's constant new updates because we know when the algorithms and when the search engines are crawling your websites. And this changes all the time. Nobody knows the exact system or the rules of how they do it. But if they keep crawling your site and nothing changes, they may set a timer to say, okay, now I'm going to go back in 2 days. Now if they go back in 2 days and nothing's changed, okay, we'll go back in 3. And if they keep not seeing changes, they could be only crawling your site once a week. Who knows, right? But the reason some of this other stuff pops up so much on the search engines is because, like Facebook and some of these social media, because it's changing so often, right? So if you can keep adding stuff like content to your website through blogs and stuff, it really does help with your search engines and stuff like that.
And on top of your blogs for your website, never forget your Google business listing.
Yep.
Add that stuff to your Google business listing. And it's something that is barely thought of with a bunch of people. And some people are like, what the crap's a Google business listing? Just look it up real quick. Make sure, if you own a business, most likely you're on there, but a lot of people that are on there don't know that they can post straight to that. Post to it because that, you're literally giving Google the exact drug that they want. And so, how can that not help you and your team out?
Yeah, I mean, and it's as simple as, I mean, you can start asking questions. You can ask questions and stuff, and stuff that you want the customers to ask. You know, hey, by the way, while you're out there installing Automatic Gate, don't forget to ask your installer. Of course, you're already going to have your answers to this stuff, and you're already going to have your answers to this stuff saying, hey, you know, make sure they follow the TGM 500 gate safety standards, and here's why it matters, and stuff like this, and create, you know, create content and dialogue on that, and you'll get feedback and get the stuff going. So that's, yeah, I agree. That's really cool on that. And we're going to get into even some of the social media platforms and some of the other ones of where we would post, right?
Yep.
So employee and team spotlights, these are really cool, right? Because
dude, that's where it's not just a highlight of your company, but you get to show off your people and you get to show off the skills, because a lot of people think like, oh, you know, whenever it just happens and there's somebody in the, you know, they don't know the 20 people that are in the background that are making all the things that your company does happen. And it's just like behind the scenes. It's an easy way to spotlight, or it's an easy way to show more about your business. But I see it as a double thing of, that's a time I get to celebrate somebody also that's doing awesome on my team.
Yeah. And you can it's you know, culture is a big deal now in our industries and stuff too. So it's a chance for you to highlight the company culture, you know, boost morale, show the customers, the people behind the scenes, and you can show them that you're a real company. You're not just a lead generation company, you know. And yeah, so that's really cool. And you could post, it's really as simple as this. I mean, you can take a picture. Again, pictures are big. You can say, hey, meet Juan. You know, he's been making fences straight. Come up with something and use some platforms that'll help you, you know, create this stuff if you want, what you're going to say. You know, he's once installed 200 feet of vinyl fence in a windstorm, you know, without losing his hat. Things like this. You come up with funny things like that, and it makes it real, and it's real content. You're not just copying, and don't copy and paste the same stuff over and over.
No, not over and over. I went for a year and a half. I would find, if you scroll hard enough back through my Facebook for about a year and a half, I would find one thing that was in my photo, and I would just give this random butt fact about that one thing. Like it would be about like Rust, or I did a worship photo and it was about microphones, or I did a photo of a stage and it was about LEDs. And one of my friends literally told me, he was like, it wasn't that your photos aren't awesome, like they're good. I liked it just because I knew every time you posted something, I was going to find some weird, crazy fact that I had never known before. And that's literally why I did it. I was just trying to give a different perspective on stuff.
Yeah. And you get to know it's a good chance to get to know your employees too, because if you're going to highlight or spotlight one of them, it's, you know, that's literally a chance to sit down and say, hey, you know what, I'd like to spotlight you this month or this week on some of our social medias. We ask them if it's okay, because some people don't like it, right? You know, that's okay. And by the way, you know, tell me a funny story about yourself. Ask them a few questions, and you get to know them. And you never know. Maybe it's going to help you get closer to your employees. At the same time, this content just builds up, man. Yeah. If you keep doing these things over a period of a year, you have now established yourself. You can make yourself even look larger than you are, right? Okay. And larger than a large company that's just posting generic and hired outsourced some company to do all the stuff for you and doesn't have any contact with your employees. Where would you post those? The employee.
So spotlights would be Facebook, and I believe if you're doing just still, it would be Facebook. Probably your blog. And I would throw it on Instagram also. So much of everything is automatically going to be a Facebook thing. I wouldn't shy away from posting a spotlight if it's really short, even on YouTube. A lot of people don't know on YouTube, you can post just still photos. Yeah. And it's just like it's just like a quick, fast update. You're literally just inserting yourself in the feed in a different way.
Interesting. So you still need audio on that. You come up with a song or something, and you just have a photo with maybe the quotes on the photo or something.
Just a complete still photo. It doesn't need a song or nothing at all. Yeah, it's really cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of those things, and even I got to start doing those more. You know, as we get busier and busier, and we start disconnecting almost from sometimes the installers and the crews. It's a good chance to to do that. So before and after photos. We're getting on number 4, man. We're going through these things pretty quick. I mean, it's this simple, everybody. If you're listening in the car, it is this simple. Man. Yeah. It doesn't take a lot.
Before and after, the things I love about the before and after is it 1000% gets to show off your guys' talent and everything that y'all are doing. but that's really where the story is. You know, people, that's what I try to push every single time whenever if you're doing a Facebook ad, or if you're talking, you know, to a customer, it's the story that sells your product. And that's the biggest chance you get to have in a before and after. Before and afters are totally amazing, especially the more disastrous it starts out, and, you know, the amazing that you get to make it at the end.
Yeah, and it's really cool. And you know, and I think that what's important here, I'm going to pull this thing up because the reason I put this on there is because if you're going to do before and afters, don't just post a simple basic, you know, before and after, right before and right after on it. You know, tell a story. Don't just do a before and after. Tell a story. Explain the challenges of what that was, or dealing with the client, or the goal, or what, you know, what you did, and make. Sometimes you know, you just see a before and after, and you're thinking aesthetically, why, you know, that doesn't look that, you know, it doesn't look that great, or doesn't look that different. Explain, hey, you know, this was really cool. We noticed in the first picture there was a tree there, or there was this, or there was that, and we had to deal with this. I mean, in order to keep this fence level, if you see the bottom, we had to add another rail. I mean, whatever it happens to be. So tell a story, and that content is going to be way more valuable than just posting again. Yeah. You know, I hate that when people do that. Just post a picture, right? And post a picture and put some content, because that's going to help drive, you know, the content. You know, drive traffic to your content. Yeah, and you know, and then the final one though is we were kind of talking about, you were mentioning perspective earlier, personal or founder perspectives.
So you tell me your founder perspective first, and then I'm going to piggyback off of you, because I like your thought process.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, authenticity builds connection, and it does. If you can show, you know, and people love hearing from the owners. They love hearing from the perspective of either the founders, or even a personal perspective from one of the people in the field, things like that. And, you know, what you know, how you did. You'd be like, hey, 10 years ago, literally something as simple as saying 10 years ago, I installed my first fence, right? I borrowed an auger, and I had zero clue what I was doing. And of course, you know, that's a really cool perspective to come from a founder when they now see, okay, you've got 15 trucks, or you've got 5 trucks, or, you know what I mean? And now, and here you are telling the story about how, you know, when you first started, you had a pair of post hole diggers and a wheelbarrow you bought from Home Depot, and everybody was calling you one truck Chuck and trunk slammers, and they were suppliers didn't want to sell to you. Everybody was, you know what I mean? They were, you do.
So I did that 100% on purpose, because the first thing you asked me was, tell me a little bit about yourself. Yep. Nobody knows unless I work with you 100%, unless I work with you straight. Nobody knows that story. So whenever I threw that at you, what do you think of the perspective? You told a story of starting with nothing, and look what we have now. That's the thing that I can't tell people enough about this, how huge of an impact the story has. Yep. And never be afraid to try new things. And realize that if you plan a post, you plan a video, and it gets 4 views, that's fine. Because I've planned stuff out for a month, gotten 10 views, and then this is my selfie stick story. My buddy Kyle was standing at the back of the stage area by the tech booth. In between the tech booth and the 50 feet to the stage, he had this idea hit his head. So when halfway through, he gets up on stage, he looks out, and this is like a youth group. He looks out in the youth group, and he's like, does anybody have a selfie stick? So, like, you know, 500 swords come stabbing up at him. He grabs one of them. Well, a new campus was opening, and he put his phone on the stick, and he's like, hey, we just want to welcome this new campus in Wichita, Kansas, blah, 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 blah. Hey, everyone. And then he turns around, and there's a sea of students behind him. And, you know, they all go nuts, and they all welcome them and everything. That video, he came up with it in 15 seconds in his head. And it's one of his most liked videos that he's ever posted in his life.
Yeah.
And he literally thought of it like that. So don't be afraid of, well, my one video got 5 views, so I'm totally terrible at this. No, it was just, that's how the algorithm monster treats people. Yeah. My fiance, Alexis, she has a channel out, Alexis Unscripted. And what's funny is the best videos that are on her page are speed runs of me building Legos.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do. But those videos of me putting together Legos, they help generate the views for everything else. So don't be afraid to make weird videos, off the wall videos that still stay within your branding, because if it catches the attention, they'll go to your page, try to see what the next one is, and you may have yourself a client.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, I've done this before. I mean, you do a video in your car on the way to work, all shaking, holding it up on your steering wheel, and you get 10,000 views, completely unedited. And then you go back and you do a video and you spend 4 hours editing it, trying to make it look as professional as can be, and like 16 people watch it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't.
And you were 5 of the people in your office.
The more time you spend on the video editing it and making it look perfect doesn't mean the more views you're going to get. So, right?
No. And it could be your best and it could be your worst, and that's perfectly fine, because that's how all of this happens. At least you're doing it. Get out and do it, because if you never start doing it, no one's ever going to know who you are.
Well, imagine a year later. I mean, once a week, you realize if you did it once a week, that's 52 videos in a year, right? So if you're doing this 2-3 times a week, I mean, it doesn't take long before you've got in a year 200 videos in there, all just kind of running around, crawling through search engines, and don't, some of them don't. TikTok doesn't penalize you, I don't think, for uploading the same video with different titles and things like this. Some do, and that kind of changes some of it. Yeah. Hey, Craig, what's up, man? There's one of your guys right there.
Yeah, I know.
This guy Friday in the house. So let's talk.
Awesome. Absolutely love what he does.
Yeah, it's cool, man. What he's done with that thing in such a short period of time is amazing. I love watching what he's done with that Fence Guy Friday, and I think that was something Joe Everest was doing earlier on, and then he kind of reached out to him and said, hey, do you mind if I do the Fence Guy Friday? And he started doing Fence Guy Friday, and it was really cool, man. I love seeing how professional that is too, and how well he's done.
It's awesome, and it almost started out by FAQs. You wanted to make a frequently asked question page, and then it followed the rest of your story. It exploded. You never know where this stuff is going to go. And we had said before that I was telling my background. I was in the military for 15 years, and I got out because I was tired of, for me it was the perfect time to get out. My son was young, he was little. I was tired of missing everything that he's done, and doing this job, I never thought it would explode to what it is. But it's also provided me the access to, I have never missed a single thing that he's ever done, any game, any important school stuff. Like, I've been able to be a part of and do that stuff. And if it wasn't for, businesses like yours, Craig's, Nathan's, Kyle's, Alexis, if it wasn't for those kind of businesses, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So I appreciate y'all.
And there was Zach from Blackline right there saying he needs some intros. Look at that right there.
It does, dude. I'll text him right now.
He's got carousel. What is it? Carousel. Let's get it in. Let's put it in there. Type it in. What it is? Mama's Carousel or
Casserole. Mama's Casserole.
Mama's Casserole. Yeah. So that's kind of cool that he's got going on there. I think that's what he needs his intros for.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah. But hey, let's Mama's Casserole. There it is. So let's talk a little bit about the social media platforms though, and go through those kind of real quick, and then I'm going to pull up a cheat sheet kind of thing that I have, and I want to get your opinion on that. Okay. And people can download, screenshot, whatever they're going to do. If they need a copy of this cheat sheet, let me know. Let's start with Facebook first off, and this is different for different industries and for different trades, right?
Yeah, it's going to change and adjust to everything. If you do credit building, fences, or you own, like a food truck, it's all going to be a little bit different. But this is kind of just, a basic start here and then find where your niche leads you. Yep.
And local pages. Remember I was saying earlier, don't just go on the, if you're trying to get local business, if you're not a national company that's working all over the country, then focus your time and energy inside these local pages.
Local pages. And always be posting to your Facebook group. And Facebook, you can do video. You can do Facebook is the most versatile in the fact that you don't need a photo. You can just post, what's going on. You can post still photos. You can post videos. You can do long format, short format, vertical, wide. That's the one you have the most play with.
Yeah. Yep. So Facebook, I mean, I think I spend most of my time in Facebook as well. And it's getting, sometimes you get stressed out over it, gets a little saturated and stuff going back and forth through there. And but like I said, don't focus so much in the industry groups and go more for your local. I don't want to lose everybody from the groups
Go
either.
for your local area. And for me, from what I've noticed is Facebook right now is generally 40-year-olds and up.
Yep. Yep. And the younger generations over on Instagram. And honestly, I think, I think in our industry, we're always one social media platform behind. So, when everybody went to Facebook, we were still on MySpace. And then, right. And then when everybody leaves Facebook, when everybody leaves LinkedIn, what'll happen is we'll all move over to LinkedIn.
Yeah.
That's just what's going to happen, right? Something new is going to pop up, but we won't go with them. We're just going to go to LinkedIn. So
dang it, I just figured it out.
That's the secret. Okay, if you ever want to know where we're going to be, look what
we're doing really good at. No one else is there.
Right? Then we'll take it over, right?
Yeah. Instagram's great for photos and videos. Demographic again is it's going to be 20s. It's going to be 20s and up. A lot of influencers, sit on Instagram. They also sit on TikTok. You're more restricted in what you can do format wise for videos. But the biggest thing for Instagram is take advantage of your reels. Yep. Reels are gigantic for Instagram.
Yep. And you know who does really well on Instagram? Obviously, Dan Wheeler, the Fence Industry. Is it Fence Industry Only podcast or Fence
Industry Podcast?
Fence Industry Podcast. Yeah. He does really well on Instagram. He's got
he does awesome. He's the king of the lives for that.
Yeah. So there's a different audience on each one. So definitely, I think you got to. But this all takes time.
Yeah.
So it all takes to sit here, but you can post in these things once a week, and if you start now, you may not notice the difference right away. Just do it. At home instead, turn off your TV for 30 minutes. That you go home and sit and watch TV for 4 hours. I think you can spend 30 minutes of it on social media and do your post, right?
Yeah.
An hour of it. So Instagram, something we could all do a little bit better, I think, especially in our age group. So get over there because it's the business is out there, and a lot of the homeowners and stuff are on there looking at photos and finding businesses from there. But I think they're finding it right now. Those homeowners are in Facebook finding me more likely than Instagram. But for me anyway. But yeah. So LinkedIn. What are your thoughts on LinkedIn?
LinkedIn, for me, from what I've done, LinkedIn is like the business end heavy. It's the business and the professionals is where LinkedIn sits at. But it's not something to ever overlook because as a business, posting stuff in there, another business may need something. And because they're in LinkedIn, talking about updating their stuff and making links in their stuff, if they find yours, that could be the one chance where Chipotle finds your fence company.
Yep.
And they need it, then they need fence stuff out here for these 9 franchises. So each one, even if it's not super relevant to you, still always post in it.
Yep.
Because you never know that chance.
You can create groups, pages, everything in LinkedIn, just the same. You can stream to it like you're streaming to everything else. This right here is streaming to LinkedIn right now.
Yeah.
So you can stream to it the same as you do everywhere else. It's easier to stream to probably than Instagram. Instagram's a pain to stream to.
Oh yeah, because they're freaking
but LinkedIn's great. You ever notice though on LinkedIn, it's like people are just more restrained. I don't understand. It's weird though, isn't it? Because why aren't they posting the same memes over there? It's almost like they're afraid to, isn't it?
It's the adult version of social media.
It's like we feel like our parents are over on LinkedIn, and it's like we'll post the most. We got battles going on Facebook, and then on LinkedIn, it's like nobody.
LinkedIn is church, bro. You can't do that in LinkedIn.
Yeah, on Facebook we're like insulting people and tagging them and stuff. On LinkedIn, it's just like we don't even want to like post a meme that's funny, right?
No. It's hilarious that they accidentally got that reputation, but it's a reputation that works and keeps it going and flowing.
Yeah, and some people feel more comfortable over there, so don't be afraid of it. I don't think you're going to get as much on the homeowners, but if you're going for the commercial stuff, that's where a lot of your general contractors and maybe some of your business to business stuff is going to come from. You can get a lot of business out of LinkedIn. It depends on your market. You may not be getting a lot of residential unless it happens to be a homeowner that needs, or a business owner needs residential, but it's definitely a place that you should be building up some content in. Again, a year from now, what does it hurt? You already made the post, copy, paste, post it in that one as well. Here's a really big, important one that I think people really, really overlook. How many people out there don't have a Google business profile? It's just baffling, isn't it?
Yeah, dude, it's insane. It's insane, and it's free. You haven't
Yeah.
paid for it at all. At all. You just like answer the questions. I know answering the questions is a pain. And like Google asks me certain things, I'm like, shush, I don't want to answer it. But it's free. It's free to use, and you're literally feeding the monster, and
Yeah.
straight in. And it's, I got to a point where with some companies, I was like, set a timer on your phone. Every Tuesday at this time, it says Google Business.
Yep.
Whatever photo, I don't care. Just put something up, quick blurb, feed the monster.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of stuff. If you really get in there, and I think we should do another video. I did one a while back. As you pull it up, we're gonna do another video on Google Business Profile and how much you can really do in there, and how you can take advantage of the services. There's a whole bunch of features in that people don't even realize and don't even utilize. And you could go in, like you said, you can go post to this thing without even logging in. Go post a picture yourself, and it's and people get all nervous about the reviews, and I mean. It is what it is. You just gonna go in there, and then I'm not a big fan of Yelp. I mean, I don't know much about Yelp. You probably have to, that's something I'm not a big fan of. Some of those platforms that are just lead generation ones, but yeah, But Google My Business is a big one. So what would you post in there? What would be the main things you'd post in there?
So for Google, I would do before and afters. I would do behind the scenes and quick tips. I'm talking like something that you literally, if you want to do it on Canva, do it on Canva. Don't do a list. Super quick. Have it in there super fast. It's really easy.
Yeah. Okay. And then short form videos. I mean, I kind of talked about TikTok. I mean, I got like 30,000 followers on TikTok, know, and you wouldn't think you would have that. YouTube's a little tougher. TikTok, maybe it's easier to get, views and things like that. What do you think between those two? Or, I mean, is there another one you think people should be considering?
So those two are king, and I absolutely love them if you play the game right. You get to do the music and everything else with TikTok, and that's what's going to make you score and do awesome and do great. Take that same video without that music, go put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they try to do the music part on YouTube, and I'm like, no, it's just going to get you flagged, and you're going to be paying someone else the money that you should be getting. Always put both of them, put that stuff up there. And TikTok is more of the entertainment, and you can sneak in knowledge, where YouTube is knowledge and sneak in the entertainment.
Okay.
As long as you play the game right, they're both. And think of who owns YouTube. Google does. So whenever you're posting a Google, what are you doing? You're feeding the monster.
Yeah. And I like that you said music. Music's a big deal that people don't realize. And even I do this sometimes, I don't realize. And you put, even though you think, okay, I built this in Canva or one of the other things, and you've got free music library with your pro account or whatever, that music, you have to almost connect your Canva account and other accounts or wherever you're getting it to the platforms that are using it. Otherwise, they don't know you have permission to use that, even though you do. So they can end up not playing your videos in other countries where they don't have permission and things like, even in this country, it hurts the video probably of being shown. Because nobody wants to get involved in any of that stuff. So yeah, music's a big deal. And you have any questions on that, drop them in the comments, and Rob and I will hopefully try to answer some of that on the music. So here's a cheat sheet that let me see if I can get rid of that right there, that I kind of use and came up with. Anybody wants to screenshot this or wants a copy, let me know. What are your thoughts? I mean, this is basically where, I think we were kind of in the same page as what you were saying, behind the scenes. The best platforms
stuff. Tips and education. This is a perfect spot to, like, if anything else, start here. Start here and then go from here. Find out what works. I mean, some things can be great on Facebook at 9 a.m., but could be even better at 9:30 p.m. So play with the times. Just the biggest thing is consistency and branding. If you stick to those two things in all of your postings, you're going to make it.
Yep. And these are some of the notes that we had, but so we've kind of changed it, and we've kind of, like, you see some of the notes we made where we decided we were going to talk about, hey, let's research this and things on there. So maybe make one of these things kind of like a weekly reminder, some checklists that you want to check off. And, and if it just makes it a lot easier than trying to remember, did I post one of these? Did I do that? Did I do this? Anybody wants any of these things, let us know. Again, we're dropping the comments, and maybe we'll figure out how we can get this information out to people, that we use. But I do want to do a shout out for our show sponsor, JC Gurry, which has been a huge help on everything that we're doing here. So they have their 75th year. They have their 75th year anniversary customer appreciation networking event that they're doing October 1st in Las Vegas. So anybody that wants to go to this thing, space will be limited, they say. Networking start at 5 p.m. They're going to have some entertainment, some food, some beverages while it lasts. If you can see this, screenshot this, scan that QR code, and register. RSVP is going to be required, but I'm pretty sure if you know Mark and Mary, they're pretty nice. They'll probably let you in if you just show up, but it's going to be your fault if for some reason you can't get in and you didn't RSVP.
I love Mark and Mary, dude. They are some of the most awesome, amazing people that are on this earth.
They are, yeah, and I think they do a lot for all of us,
yeah,
the podcast and stuff like that. So it's really cool on that. And also, though, we've got some coming to Florida, so this is going to be pretty cool. So go to fenceuniversity.com. Go over to this. It's going to be the July 24th, 25th, 26th. The whole Fence University team is going to be coming down there at EVU Fencing, and we're going to be doing some vinyl fence training along with pretty extensive amount of information is going to be handed out on gate operators and access controls. So far, we've got some manufacturers involved. I know PPA is coming out. We've got PPA CMM is going to be coming down. It sounds like we've got this whole list of manufacturers just going to keep growing. So you're going to have a lot of content, to information and stuff to get the information and to learn, and also the quick start class when it comes down to learning multimeters and safety devices and TGM 500 standards. We're going to be going over that, the checklist. So yeah, I mean, have you been to Florida?
Dude, that's where I'm getting married at, is in Florida in July. Dude, and now we were just there for cheer championships about a month and a half ago.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I absolutely love it. It is so much better than Oklahoma. And
yeah,
then I had to come back, and I'm like, crap, I'm in Oklahoma again.
Yeah, we're excited about this. So it's going to be Spanish and English. So it's going to be really heavy on the Spanish side. So it's a chance for us to connect to that side of the industry that really doesn't feel as connected. So we're hoping that this will continue to grow down there in Florida. But being also some of the training we're doing is if you go to gatesafety.com right now, you can start checking out some of the checklists and the app and stuff that's coming out. So what we're going to be doing is launching even the app here in the next week or so, where you're going to be able to do a gate safety checklist in the field to verify that you're doing and following some of the procedures to install the gate. We're trying to get some of this gate safety information out to the field, push to the people installing the gate, and make a simple procedure to make sure that we've got the fall protection, gate, entrapment zones and safety devices hooked up and things like that. So the TGM standards are growing pretty quick in the industry. So we're excited to get this information out. The manual as well is available. So it's a quick 18 page manual. If someone wants to flip through a little 6x9 manual, if you want to print it out, we're going to have hard copies to give you guys as well. Definitely, if you come to the show, we'll have some of those in Las Vegas, but we'll also have them in Florida. If you're going to be down there for that training, to give you some of the manuals. But if you are coming in Las Vegas to the Fence Show, scan this QR code and get registered for this. And this is going to be not just for gate installers. We're going to have a lot of people coming down, municipalities, facility managers, HOAs, risk assessment. We've talked to a couple insurance companies. They want to learn more about this. Basically, public awareness. This is all about public awareness and getting the information out there about some of the fall protections and things like that they can do. So scan this, RSVP your spot so we know how many people are there. They're going to be there for the show. I know we're going to get people at the show, so I know want to join in on this, but that's October 2nd between 1 and 3 on the show floor in the TGM 500 Gate Safety Training area. That's going to be set up. It's going to be grown even more than the Gate Safety Summit area that we had last year. So we're kind of excited about all of that. So again, drop in the comments if you missed any of that stuff. Someone just said they wanted to get a PDF of our checklist for the social media posting and things like that. Sweet. So any last minute advice you have for people out there that
just start.
Want to get started?
That's the biggest one. Just start. And whenever it gets to become too much, there's people like me, that can help you out with it. But, just the biggest thing is start. Start now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do your first post today and then see where it takes and leads you.
Yep, I agree. Just get going. Not to sound like a shoe commercial or anything, but just do it. Just do it. Get out there. Start posting. Post today. Take the next 30 minutes and post today. And you know what? post it and then tag Rob and me in it, and we'll share it for you. Anybody that tags Rob and me in it, we'll share. Oh, man, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Tag Rob and me in it. Right?
Yeah, and mine's easy. I'm old enough. I got @TheRobNoble on everything, no matter where you're at.
Yeah. So there you go, you guys. Post it. Tag Rob and I, and we'll give you some feedback if we can, and we'll try to reshare.
I'll like and follow it if you tag me in it.
Yep, there you go. You got commitments from us, so we'll work on it. Everybody that's listening in and watching, we appreciate it. Today was a fun episode for me. Next week we've got we're going to be talking about franchises, and we're going to have Superior Fence and Rails going to be coming on. So we're going to be asking a lot of the questions that people want to ask. So drop some of those in there as well if there's any questions you want us to ask on the franchise episode next week. So tune in next Wednesday, 4:30 sharp. On the same channel. Rob, thank you again for coming on. It's been a pleasure. I'm sure we'll be talking soon.
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks again, man.
See you later, everybody.